Hey, friends. I have a couple things kind of on my mind today. It's Valentine's Day, so love is on my mind. And I had a really great session today with a student. I mean, I kind of call this the word that I used or the phrase that I used a couple months ago when I sort of hit on what this feels like is collaborative mentorship. And which I basically use that phrase to mean like I'm collaborating with somebody, but I'm also mentoring them kind of. It's like I'm teaching, you know, I have a lot more experience doing the kinds of things that we're doing, in this case, recording a song. And so while some aspects of the work are really similar to a collaborative relationship where two sort of equally experienced people might just be offering what they have, there are elements of that show up in a relationship like this one, in a process like this one. But then there are also elements where it's like I've just done this more, and so I kind of can lead in certain ways. And but anyway, I had one of those sessions today, and it was such a blast. So much fun. It's and really satisfying. Um, and this is I've spoken about this before. About this particular student client mentee in a way. I've spoken about this before because there's somebody who I've worked with for quite a while. We had a period when I first launched my piano intensive, and then we had a period of not really working together, and then we sort of picked up again. And after we picked up again, we rifled through a couple different subjects or a couple different approaches to music. A little bit of some work on a classical piece, a little bit of work on more kind of popular music. I think we may have even dabbled a little bit in improvisation, but we never really got to the heart. I never really felt like I hooked this student until we were on a session one day, and it was like it just came to me like in an epiphany. We were on a session one day, and I was like, well, what? Maybe I think I sort of I felt myself internally release the need to make what I was doing or what I was offering be the right thing for my student. Anybody who's a teacher has probably had the experience of like you want your student to be happy. You want them to be feeling like they're making progress. You want to be leading them somewhere that they want to go. And when that's not happening, it can feel like, well, maybe I'm the wrong teacher for this student. That can be the case. They might need somebody who's the right teacher. Or you might just not have hit on the right direction to go. And in my case, because I can go a couple different directions, I let myself just sort of like say, okay, I don't know. I have no idea where this student wants to go, but all I'm going to do is I'm going to name right now to the student. It doesn't feel like we're going there now. It doesn't feel like this is right. It doesn't feel like this. It doesn't feel like anything that's on the table right now is really right. And that's a scary moment because you're sort of really being both very direct with the student and also in some ways kind of vulnerable by conceding that maybe you don't know where they want to go and you're not sure if you can help them. And but so I did that, and then within, I mean, I think it was probably less than 60 seconds, I had a flash of, well, hold on. What if we try to write something? What if we take some of what this this person already does naturally? She told me that she had voice memos and little snippets of inspiration that had been captured. I was like, what if we just do that? What if we back it up, make this not about the piano at all, and just make our process about nourishing the inspiration that comes to us, which sometimes, you know, sometimes the very inspired people who get a lot of inspiration coming through, the only thing stopping them is they don't know how to construct with it. They don't know how to take an inspiration and start putting the building blocks in place to get somewhere with it. So we started that process, and I mean to tell you, we have come light years. Now I feel a level of buy-in and a level of just independent investment from this student that is completely different than anything I've ever experienced from anything else we've worked on. And of course, I also get inspired by that. I get to work with somebody who's bringing a lot of great energy and has cool ideas and is excited to do something with them and see where they go. So, and I'm still in some ways, I'm leading the process in the sense that at junctures where someone with less experience might just kind of not know how to put one foot in front of the other and kind of just get to the next stage or lay the next layer of bricks, that's where I kind of come in and I'm like, okay, well, let's do this then. And I can kind of lead in that way, but other than that, it's really kind of a collaboration. And that process, man, to do that as your job is pretty great. Pretty great. Hard to beat doing that. So there's that. And I have continued to feel what I spoke about yesterday, which is there's a certain kind of serendipity to the way in which the universe serves up next steps. In other words, yesterday I spoke a little bit about being asked to accompany my daughter's violin recital, and all of a sudden having a bunch of Baroque music on the program, which felt difficult to me. It's a kind of music that I've kind of generally felt it's just not, I haven't done it that much, so it's been harder for me in some ways. But as I said yesterday, I saw an opportunity in that, and today that sense continued that this is an opportunity to, instead of trying to do something foreign, like if I'm trying to play a piece that I don't really understand, then the challenge becomes, well, I need to technically get inside this thing. Like I need to technically just be able to make my hands do all these complicated things, which is very difficult. But if I instead take the position that my job here is to understand this and be able to almost generate it from the inside. You know, my litmus test is always, do I feel like I can improvise this? Because when I'm playing something classic, even when it's classical written out note for note, when I'm playing it really well, I have generally a sense that I could be inventing this. I'm not. I'm playing Mozart or Chopin or whoever, but I kind of feel like I'm making it up. That tells me that I really understand it. And that is what, so then the job becomes to get to that place. The job doesn't become, let's get really good at executing complicated stuff. The job becomes, let me understand this. And I think that that's related, you know, to my experience with my student, because in the same way, it's like rather than trying to hook a student into something that is not maybe right for them, but doing so in a kind of manic search for the right way of getting them to understand something that I'm trying to teach, that energy usually tells you something about how it's going. It's like, maybe chill. Maybe that's not where you need to go. Maybe let the student tell you. And they'll do it not by telling you directly. They'll do it by telling you, by speaking to this either side of what you're talking about, the things that come out as little flares of information or insight. That's the stuff that lets me feel like, okay, let me get a sense of what's really going on underneath, like in the heart of this person, and see if where it feels like they want to go is somewhere that I can take them. Because it might not be the case that I can. In this case, it definitely was, but we need to be willing to be open to that idea that, like, maybe I can't go there. Kind of like with this music. Maybe I can't. Maybe I can't receive this. But I'm not giving up at that point. I'm just saying, I'm having the humility to say, let me understand this better. Let me allow this piece to affect me, to change how I see the keyboard, how I feel music. If I can be changed by it, well, now I'm moving with it. I'm kind of dancing with the song, dancing with the piece. It's a subtle change in sort of like what our focus is doing and what our attention is doing, but it's everything when it comes to doing deep work. So that's where I am today, folks. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. I will see you soon.